If you've started a new job anytime since November 2021, something quietly changed about your super, and nobody told you. Your old fund now follows you from job to job automatically, and if that fund happens to be a poor performer, you could be bleeding money without ever seeing a single warning. This affects millions of Australians because nearly 1 in 4 default super options were underperforming, according to Grattan Institute analysis of APRA's tests. Today, we'll do 3 things. Check whether your fund is a dud, redirect your future contributions, and audit the fees and insurance draining your balance. Here's the number that should stop you cold. 23% of my super products either failed or closed after APRA's 2021 to 2023 performance tests per Grattan Institute analysis. That's nearly 1 in 4 default options flagged as underperforming. But here's the part nobody tells you. Stapling can lock you into one of them anyway. 3 moves, and each takes under 20 minutes. Check your fund against APRA's test, redirect your contributions with a standard choice form, then audit your fees and insurance. So how does this actually work? From the 1st of November 2021, when you start a new job and don't pick a super fund, your employer must pay into your existing fund, what the ATO calls your stapled fund. It's designed to follow you across every future job, which sounds helpful until that fund is one of the duds APRA has already flagged. Now here's where it bites. APRA's performance test fails a fund if it trails its benchmark by more than half a percentage point a year. But Grattan estimates the gap between top quartile and bottom quartile My Super funds is actually around 0.9 to 1.2 percentage points a year net of fees. For a median earner over a 40-year career, that gap compounds into roughly $128,000 less in retirement, according to Grattan modelling of APRA's data. But underperformance is only the first layer. Even if your fund's returns look fine, stapling can leave you in a fund with higher fees and insurance you never needed, and once it's set and forget, you simply never look again. ASIC's Money Smart warns that these ongoing deductions quietly erode your balance year after year. And the cost of doing nothing is brutal. ASIC's Money Smart shows that a fee difference of just 0.8% a year, about $400 on a $50,000 balance, can cut your final super by well over $100,000 over a career. Add unsuitable default insurance, say of $500 a year instead of $250, and you're handing over another $250 every year for cover you may not even need. Here's the belief that traps people. Once I'm stapled, I'm locked in for life. That's simply wrong. The ATO is clear that stapling only sets the default when you don't choose. You can change funds at any time by nominating a new one, usually with a standard choice form, and your contributions follow. So let's put both costs side by side. Underperformance alone can cost around $128,000 by retirement, according to Grattan, while ASIC's compounding examples show fees plus insurance can drain well over $120,000 more. Combined, staying stapled to a poor fund can quietly cost a typical worker into 6 figures. Meet Sarah. She's 32, a marketing manager earning $80,000 a year, with $60,000 in super and 33 years until retirement. Her money sits in a My Super industry fund she set up years ago and hasn't thought about since. And that fund is now her stapled fund. Here's what she found when she finally looked. Discovery 1. Her fund failed APRA's performance test in 2021 and later merged, and it's the exact fund stapling keeps feeding. Using the ATO's definition, this is her stapled fund following her across jobs unless she acts. Grattan's analysis puts the shortfall for someone in a fund like this at around $128,000 versus a top quartile fund over a career, directly relevant to Sarah's age and income. Discovery 2 came from the ATO's Your Super comparison tool. It showed her fund's total fees on a $50,000 balance were about 1.1% a year versus 0.5% for a comparable low-fee option, a 0.6 percentage point gap worth roughly $300 a year right now. Applying ASIC's fee examples, that gap over 33 years could conservatively cost her $60,000 to $80,000, even with identical investment returns. Discovery 3 was the most galling. Her statement showed about $480 a year in default life and TPD premiums, while an alternative fund offered more suitable cover for her occupation at just $250, saving $230 a year, redirected into her super and compounded at each 7% over 33 years. ASIC's examples suggest that's more than $15,000 extra by retirement. Add it all up, stack the underperformance, the excess fees, and the overpriced insurance together, and Sarah's stapled fund could plausibly cost her around $195,000 by age 65. That's modelled on 7% returns, a 0.6 to 1% fee gap, $230 all year in extra premiums, and her rising super contributions, consistent with Grattan and ASIC's published examples. So could this be you? Ask yourself 3 things. Have you changed jobs since November 2021 without choosing a fund? Do you have no idea whether your fund passed APRA's test? And have you not looked at your fees or insurance in over a year? If even one of those rings true, the next 3 moves are for you. The good news is that fixing this is genuinely free and faster than you'd think. You don't need an advisor or a financial degree. We'll check your fund against APRA's actual test results, redirect your future contributions to a better fund, and audit the fees and insurance quietly draining your balance. Move 1. Find out exactly what you're stapled to. Log into MyGov, open ATO online services, and you'll see which fund is currently receiving your contributions. That's effectively your stapled fund. Then search it in the Your Super comparison tool and check whether it's ever failed APRA's performance test or sits near the bottom of the list. 3 quick steps. Log into MyGov, open ATO online services, and find your fund. Search it in the Your Super tool, then note its 8-year net return, its fees, and any test failure flags. Good looks like a fund that's never failed APRA, sits in the top quartile, and charges below median fees. Move 2. Stop the bleeding by redirecting your future contributions. Once you've vetted a better My Super product using your super and APRA's data, formally nominate it with each employer using the ATO Superannuation Standard Choice form. Your employer must provide one within 28 days of you starting. This is general information, not personal advice. Here's how. Request the standard choice form from your employer, then fill in your chosen fund's USI and ABN, which you'll find on the fund's website, return it, and your employer must pay into that fund instead of the old stapled one. Good looks like your pay landing in a top quartile fund you actually chose. Move 3. Audit what's already being skimmed off the top. Log into your fund's portal and download your latest statement and product disclosure statement so you can see your total fees and insurance premiums in real dollars. Then compare those fees against similar products in your super and adjust your cover or switch if it's clearly too expensive. 3 steps. Download your statement and PDS for the dollar figures, compare your fees against similar products in your super, then adjust your insurance or switch funds and update your choice form with employers. Good looks like fees at or below the median and insurance that genuinely matches your needs per ASIC. Why act now? 3 dates matter. In 2021, stapling began. Your existing fund started following you to new jobs by default. Across 2021 to 2023, APRA's tests flagged that 23% of My Super products failed or closed per Grattan. And from the 1st of July 2025, the super guarantee rises to 12%, meaning even more of your pay now rides on whether your fund is any good. Once you've acted, here's how to confirm it worked. You should see your next pay's super land in your chosen fund, not the old one. Confirm your new fund passed APRA's latest performance test, and if your premiums dropped, that money is now quietly compounding inside your balance instead of leaving it. Everything we covered comes straight from the ATO, ASIC's Money Smart, APRA's performance test data, and Grattan Institute modelling. All the links and tools are in the description below so you can check your own fund tonight. Don't take our word for it. Go and verify your own numbers. So today you learned how to check whether you're stapled to a dud, how to escape it, and how to stop fees and insurance draining your future, all for free. Next week we're settling the big argument, industry versus retail super, and which one actually keeps more of your money. If this saved you from a quietly expensive mistake, hit subscribe so the next one finds you. We read the fine print every week so you don't have to. And your future self, with a fatter super balance, will thank you for it.